Hi Mister, this is my fourth video of chapter 11, The Earth is Weeping. This chapter is named Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. So the people involved are Sitting Bull, Hunkpapa, Lakota holy man and war leader, unwavering defender of land and traditional life, became leading chief of non-treaty Lakotas. Then there was the Four Horns, Sitting Bull's uncle, engineered his promotion to Supreme War Chief of non-treaty Lakotas, advised caution with whites. The Red Cloud, Spotted Tail, Crazy Horse, who was Oglala war leader, intensely anti-reservations and anti-white encroachment, the political loner, highly skilled tactician, Black Buffalo Woman, Gal, and there was also the White Bull. Then, for places and events, it was Fort Beaufort, which triggered Sitting Bull's first major resistance against white intrusion in Hunkpapa territory. Fort Laramie Treaty, which is split Lakota into treaty reservation versus non-treaty, hostilities created unceded Indian territory. There's also the Red Cloud Agency, the Lakota Crowd conflict, the Pawnee Hunting Party massacre, the Pryor Creek fights, the Yellowstone expedition, and the August 4th, 1873 battle. Okay, moving on to ideas and technologies, we have the non-treaty versus treaty bands, which are categories blurred as people moved seasonally to hunt, visit agencies, draw rations, then return to freedom. There's the old life versus rational dependence, which is the Sitting Bull framed reservation, reliance as becoming slaves to bacon, martok, sugar. The Lakota political culture, typically decentralized. Sitting Bull's supreme chief role was unusual and contested. The Shirtwear institution, there was the railroads as conquest tool, the multivariate escorts and field discipline, the press public image, and the economic power and policy. When it comes to conflict, is the Lakota sovereignty versus U.S. expansion, the rail service efforts and settlements treated in Buffalo Range and autonomy. There was also the old life faction versus reservation, which is leadership in Sitting Bull Crazy Horse versus Red Cloud Spotted Tail system. Tensions over treaty compliance. There was the Intertribal War as legal under treaty. Lakota's attacks and Crow's pawnness continued and were tolerated, used by U.S. strategy at times. There was Young Warriors versus strategic restraint, the Lakota sovereignty versus expansion, the old life faction versus reservation, and finally the Intertribal War as legal under a treaty. Then we have the purpose. For this chapter, the purpose explains how Lakota leadership and ideology anchored the non-treaty resistance, just as U.S. power shifted from forts and treaties to corporate-backed infrastructure, like the Northern and Pacific Railway. The Khmer conflict is a traditional buffer-based sovereignty versus railroad-driven settlement, with railroads seen by Lakota as driving away Buffalo and by federal leaders as a national enterprise that would close the circle on resting tribes. This chapter also shows why conflict escalated. Treaty categories were Purist reservations, dependence spread, and Lakota raids against other tribes continued even as white intrusion grew. The Yellowstone Survey and the Pryor Creek demonstrated early testing battles, not yet full war, but proper that Lakotas could block the railroad corridor. The chapter ties frontier violence to national outcomes, and Lakota resistance helped scare investors, contributing to Jay Crook's collapse and the Panic of 1873, showing how indigenous resistance could ripple into national politics and the economy.